So at Superbooth 2019, putting the Indus in industrial. I love that. With Addy from Animal Factory Amplification. How's it going?
It's going good, Ben. Good to see you again.
When I saw these two, the bigger module, and excuse me, I don't know the name, I didn't catch that they were tube sockets originally.
Oh, really?
And now I see big tubes sticking out, which is great.
Yeah, those are... okay, the module is named Eurobus. And I actually started working on this module in 2013 or 14. Sorry, 2014, I think. And I finished this as a pedal in 2016. It had these two 6AK5 tubes, very much like the Metasonic stuff.
Yeah.
In pedal form, with like everything enclosed in a small box. But I thought the modular format would be a lot more useful. What it basically is it's two independent VCAs using Metal Can 6SJ7 pentodes, which are like some of the oldest tubes. They're from the 50s.
It's not one I'm familiar with by name.
No, it's they're American tubes. You got to remember that metal pentodes metal tubes were made before glass tubes, before glass tube technology came about. So as and when they could actually manufacture tubes with glass, they phased out metal production altogether.
Okay.
And
so are these hard to get hold of? Have you managed to find a big enough batch to make these modules?
Well, I have a decently sized batch of about 170, I think. I can make about 85 modules of those. But the cool thing is that, and maybe I can show this to you really quickly once I'm done demonstrating it. One of the things that I actually devised with this module is that it's a bunch of different construction technologies that I used. So if you just pop open the back.
You've got to love the Bafako Nerly. The fact that you're just popping modules out left, right and center.
I love it, yeah. I just bought a whole bunch of those because I said this is going to be infinitely useful, this Superbooth. This is a prototype. I'm just going to disconnect this for right now. So if you take a look around here, you can probably rewire to fit any other pentode that uses an 8-pin socket. And I think in the final version it will be arranged so that you can use different heater settings as well.
That's really cool. I think people will be really into swapping out tubes and checking out how different they are.
Yeah, I mean, you could theoretically use dual triodes as well, so that you can get more crunch with them. And like I said, the final version will have a little more going on, but I'm really happy with the prototype, the way it sounds and everything. This is the charge pump. So if you really want to, I'll just be putting up like schematics for everything, so that people can actually come up with their own charge pump circuits. The charge pump is the part that takes the 12 volts from the Eurorack header and converts it to a higher voltage. So that you can actually run, I run about 80 volts on these tubes because that's a nice place to be with control voltages taken into account.
Yeah, of course.
If you want to run it without control voltage, sky's the limit. Go up to 300. We'll have, I don't know, years of headroom, but then be really careful what you feed into the next stage because that's going to be a 70 volt peak-to-peak signal before distortion.
I'm not sure Eurorack's ready for 70 volts of peak-to-peak.
I don't think so, no. But yeah, so this is what it looks like from the inside. I'll just carefully place this back in here. And just to give you a quick rundown on functions, it's really simple in the audio part. There are two inputs. They're both passively summed into the tube input. You have the gain stage over here. The input gain, which is an input attenuator.
Yeah.
So if you want to get it to distort faster, just push it up. If you wanted to just use it as a saturator of sorts, turn it down. This is the output volume. This switch connects the two in series or parallel. So right now we're doing the parallel setting. You're hearing this channel. It's internally normalized, so you could technically do a mono into stereo outs. And or just run two differently distorted signals in parallel, for example. Putting it back into series, you have a bunch of other controls that control things like the biasing of the tube, which is how many volts the plate is getting. if you turn it in the middle, you'll have less voltage coming onto the plate. And that's going to lead to all sorts of like pretty sounds, and it's like almost like a starve effect.
The power starve kind of thing.
It gets a little fuzzy. And now I'm pushing them back almost in the same space. I'm gonna let it distort a little bit and push up the volume a little bit, if that's fine. Do you have enough headroom? Yeah. Right now I have it fixed, so I haven't applied any control voltage yet. I have a control voltage input that's over here, but I've switched it off. It's using a fixed voltage at this point.
Okay.
If I flip the switch, I can use this attenuator to either duck or amplify. I'm getting a really slow envelope from here.
That kind of glorious tail to the note that tubes have, because they're responsive to the level, and the kind of tail end is fuzzier before it cuts out.
Yeah, that's right. So it's got two inputs for control voltage. One of them sets the gain. The other one is only a cutoff. So that means one can amplify, this one cannot. But what it does do is, you can see it lighting up on this side as well because it's normalized internally. It's applying the input voltage to one of the tube grids. Okay. So it's there are 3 grids in a pentode. This one, unlike a lot of there's other distortions out there I'm aware of, this one lets you access all 3. So you could technically take another source and let's take the stackable. Take this in here, apply it in here. This is something called the suppressor grid, and what it does is that's kind of as the name suggests, it just like cuts off the volume. So one of them controls gain, the other one just controls whether the tube is on or off or not.
Okay.
If that makes sense. So this is with the control voltage completely off. So if you get creative, you can actually use this to duck. Just use it as a saturator.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
End of. That's why I wanted to position this all the way at the end, so that I can send the entire bus into this thing and just use it as a ducking saturator of sorts.
Yeah. So, how far off are you from releasing this? Is it quite close? Is it a way away yet?
It's not too far. I think there's a couple of things, like I want to get rid of a little bit of the wiring from the inside. So it's going to be, unfortunately, a 4-layer PCB. Which is not a bad thing, actually, because you have a little more, it improves the sound to noise ratio. I want to improve the charge pump design a little bit and publish that at some point. And the last thing that this is going to get is a voltage controlled feedback loop. Which throws it into oscillator territory.
Yeah, it becomes a whole other beast.
It's it works really well in the pedal format, but I need to fix it for the module.
Yeah.
Because it's I've tried it on the pedal. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
It's just insane.
So Greg has been asking for this for a while, I believe. I'm sure you've had it in mind. We've got a God Eater in Eurorack, and I love that you're taking your pedals and just adding a ton of CV. It's really modular. It isn't just, oh, here's that pedal in Eurorack, which can be nice to have everything in the case, but it can be a little boring and maybe a little bit too easy and obvious sometimes. A God Eater with how many patch points are we talking?
The final version will have this many patch points. I just have to this is the prototype. The only thing that I'm missing are a couple of offsets here and there.
We're talking a good, what, 8, 9?
That's 7 CV inputs.
Yeah.
Well, technically 5 CV and 2 gate.
All these flavors are fuzz and tonal shaping, but with a ton of CV control.
I think I spoke to a lot of people about this, and they said what they'd really like is control, like direct CV control over the parameters.
I think modulation is modular. It's central to the whole thing for me.
Exactly, yeah. So you want to have like your distortion textures moving in and out as well.
Of course.
Through the LFO and or through whatever you want to apply to it. And I took that and I ran with it. It took me a few tries because the first couple of attempts were really bad.
Everything starts somewhere, but we should say at the core, God Eater is a fuzz, right?
God Eater is a fuzz. It's a very well-loved bass fuzz, and I think the challenge with taking something that is a traditional fuzz circuit and putting it into a modular format without is like not changing the sound that's integral to the pedal.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like for example, both with the Pit Viper and with the God Eater, one of the things I had to make sure I was doing was not change the quality of the tone control. Because if I interrupted that and put an active tone control in there, it would sound completely different. May not be bad.
No, but it's just no longer the God Eater. It starts to be a different thing.
It's a completely different sound. So I'm pretty happy to say it's turned out pretty much like the pedal itself. Huge low end. But the additions that I'm really happy about are that this knob is CV controlled. This is CV controlled, which is and it's actually a really gentle high-pass filter, single stage, 6 dB, no feedback, no resonance. So I'll just take the low basses out, keeping the rest of the signal in. So you still got a lot of punch without all of that.
It's going to clean everything up.
Yeah. This works as it does in the pedal. This is the only control that's not really... These two are the only controls that are not really CV controlled, because having 2 gain CVs would be a bit redundant.
Yeah, so you can mix your CVs before it comes into the module.
So this is your master gain setting in a sense. This is your bass or treble contour, and this is your tone. And finally, the clean and dirty can be CV controlled to change, to mix them in and out as required. I'm still trying to work on a crossfade. I don't know if I can do it, but hey, you can just send 2 opposing LFOs or something.
Yeah, we can see. But there's also some updates to, the panels as well, and Baron Samdi's been updated as well.
Baron Samdi's had a small update. Well, the panels are all going to be updated, and I'm really happy to say that I share my working space with this incredible illustrator named Anirudh Mehta. Goes as the Big Fat Minimalist. He has an incredible and really unique visual style, as you can see over here and over here. He did the Chroma Reactor as well. So he's going to be reworking, he's going to be creating an original art for the God Eater, so I don't have to use an ancient painting for my stuff. Baron Samdi's got a tiny new update, which just completely changes everything. And it sounds like this. I want to run drums into it. The same drum loop that you were listening to. Yeah. But things get really crazy when you start sending... I'm going to send an envelope from the CV Trinity into the feedback loop.
Brutal.
I took a crazy circuit and decided I had to find a way to make it even worse and crazier. I think the one update that you can look forward to, maybe not, is that I will actually give the knobs new names.
Okay.
Saying what they actually do, because I think people are tired of the 80s or have weird knob names thing.
It speaks to some people, it doesn't speak to others. You'll never win finding the perfect naming system.
Yeah, so it's got this, yeah. And of course, there's the other CV controls. I mean, you get like everything going on. It's just becomes one big joyful mess.
Very nice. So how far off are we in terms of these updates being available?
I think there's I look around July or August.
Okay.
July or August is when things should be done. The new Pit Viper will be out as well at that point. It's pretty much the same as the old one, but with two welcome additions: the ability to have less gain. So the gain range is the same, but the dynamics are more with the flip of a switch. It can be more. It can either get super distorted, or just be more of a gritty saturator.
Yeah.
And then there's the mode switch, which goes between treble boost like the original, or a full range boost, so you have more bass in.
Yeah.
So that's about it. I think all of this will see a release around August.
Yeah.
August. Yeah. I think June, July will be production. Purchasing takes a long time in India.
I can imagine there are complications.
Yeah. So by the time everything is manufactured and ready and sent over, I should hopefully have PCBs ready to go, and then between August and September, things should be in the EU.
Great. Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for stopping by.